Imagine for a moment that everything you desire already exists, that the life of unlimited wealth, freedom, and abundance is not something to chase in the future, but something that is already present within you. The mind you carry is not just a tool for thinking, it is the doorway to creating reality itself. When you learn to inhabit the consciousness of the millionaire, when you truly believe that wealth is your natural state, the world must reflect that belief. It cannot help but obey the inner conviction that you are already rich. Wealth is not something that exists outside of you, waiting to be discovered or earned through effort alone. True abundance begins within, in the depths of your own consciousness. Everything you desire, the freedom, the riches, the opportunities, the experiences, already exists in the invisible realm of your mind. Your inner state is the foundation upon which all external circumstances are built. When you understand this, when you understand this, you realize that the life you dream of is not a distant goal or a future reward. It is a reality that you can embody right now, in this moment, through your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. Many people spend their lives looking outward for wealth, chasing jobs, investments, or external validation, believing that abundance comes from outside sources. Yet the truth is, no external circumstance can create lasting wealth if the inner mind does not first claim it as real. The rich mind is cultivated internally before it manifests externally, and the key is to see yourself as already possessing the life you desire. The consciousness of abundance is not dependent on material possessions. You can experience wealth while sitting in a modest room or walking through an ordinary street if your mind is tuned to the frequency of prosperity. When you cultivate the feeling of wealth within, when you immerse yourself in the conviction that you are already rich, your subconscious mind begins to reorganize your thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions to align with that reality. Every decision you make, every opportunity you notice, every action you take will naturally gravitate toward increasing your abundance because your inner state has set the stage for it. This is the secret that separates those who seem effortlessly wealthy from those who struggle endlessly. The first understands that external wealth is a reflection of an internal reality, while the second looks outside for something that must first be created inside. To live as though wealth already exists within you requires more than intellectual acknowledgement. It requires feeling and imagining. Close your eyes and see yourself enjoying the life you desire, not as a dream, but as a fact. Feel the freedom that comes from financial security, the joy of living without worry, the pride of having the resources to share, create, and contribute. Let these sensations fill every part of your being. When you consistently entertain these inner experiences, they impress themselves upon your subconscious mind. The mind does not question what is vividly imagined with feeling. It accepts it as real and begins to orchestrate circumstances, relationships, and opportunities that will bring that internal vision into external manifestation. Wealth is drawn to the consciousness that is certain, confident, and fully immersed in the experience of already having it. Every moment spent doubting, fearing, or longing for wealth reinforces the opposite of what you wish to attract. Scarcity is simply the byproduct of a mind focused outward on what is lacking rather than inward on what is already true. When you learn to inhabit the state of already possessing wealth, you step into a creative power that is unstoppable. Your imagination becomes the laboratory where wealth is first forged, and your feelings act as the magnetic force that draws it into reality. There is no waiting, no external timeline. The inner mind is the womb of all creation. The life you desire exists now within the fertile soil of your consciousness, ready to grow into tangible reality when you water it with attention, feeling, and unwavering belief. The moment you recognize that wealth exists within you, everything changes. Money, opportunity, and abundance are no longer something to chase. They are something to allow, something to reflect the rich state you already inhabit. By committing to your inner reality and living as the person who already has everything you desire, you awaken the power to manifest unlimited wealth. It begins and ends with your mind, for the consciousness of abundance is the seed, and reality is its inevitable harvest. Everything you experience in the world around you is a direct reflection of the state of your mind. Your outer circumstance, the people you encounter, the opportunities that appear or disappear, even the challenges that confront you, all of it mirrors what you hold within. If you observe your life closely, you will notice that when your mind is full of doubt, fear, or lack, your external reality seems to echo that scarcity. Jobs feel limiting, relationships feel strained, and opportunities appear scarce. On the other hand, when your mind is confident, certain, and attuned to abundance, the world responds in kind. Doors open, effortlessly, resources flow, and situations align in ways that feel almost miraculous. This is not a matter of chance, luck, or external control. It is the natural law of reflection. The universe does not grant wealth or success arbitrarily. It mirrors the dominant beliefs and emotions you carry within yourself. Your internal world shapes how you perceive and interact with reality. When you constantly think in terms of lack, I don't have enough, I'm not capable, there's never enough for me, you are sending a clear signal to your subconscious mind. The subconscious accepts these thoughts as truth and projects them outward. You begin to notice, interpret, and attract events that confirm your internal doubts. It is not that the world is against you. It is simply reflecting the assumptions you hold about yourself and your life. Every thought, every feeling, every belief acts as a seed planted in the fertile ground of your consciousness, and your outer life grows as a harvest of what you have consistently sown. Conversely, when you cultivate an inner state of certainty, confidence, and abundance, your external world begins to shift in response. This does not require forced effort or frantic action. It begins with the quiet, consistent practice of living in the awareness that your desires are already yours. By feeling and believing that you are wealthy, capable, and deserving, you impress this reality upon your subconscious mind. The mind, which cannot distinguish between imagination and reality when the feeling is vivid and real, begins to orchestrate your life to match this internal state. Opportunities appear, solutions arise effortlessly, and circumstances align perfectly with your assumptions. You begin to see how people, events, and resources respond to the certainty you hold within. It is essential to understand that the mirror of reality is not a judgment of your worth. It is simply a reflection of your dominant consciousness. If your life appears limited, it is not punishment. It is evidence of the beliefs you have allowed to dominate your thinking. Similarly, abundance is not a distant prize. It is the natural result of mastering your inner state. By shifting your focus from external lack to internal certainty, you change the very foundation upon which your reality is built. Your outer world does not need to be forced into alignment. It naturally conforms to the vibrational state of your mind. Every interaction, every circumstance, and every event becomes a teacher, showing you where your internal beliefs are aligned or misaligned with the life you desire. When you consciously choose to feel prosperous, confident, and deserving, the mirror responds accordingly. You no longer struggle against life or force outcomes. Instead, life flows toward you in harmony with the assumptions you maintain within. Your thoughts are not idle. They are active creators shaping every corner of your existence. The abundance you experience externally is simply the echo of your internal conviction. By fully embracing the understanding that your outer world mirrors your mind, you step into the power of conscious creation. Scarcity is not real, it is a reflection of doubt. Abundance is not earned, it is a reflection of certainty, the power to transform your life, to manifest wealth, success, and freedom begins in the inner world. The moment you align your consciousness with the life you desire, the world itself becomes your reflection, your collaborator, and your proof. The mirror never lies. It simply shows exactly what you believe to be true. To live in the end is to begin with the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled. It is to see, feel, and embody the life you want, not as a distant possibility, but as an immediate reality. Moss.
Do people wait for circumstances to change before they feel abundant, wealthy, or successful, believing that the external world must first provide before they can feel?
This is the opposite of creation. Reality is first impressed upon the inner world through imagination, and only afterward does it appear in the external world. The end is the living conclusion, the finished state, the fulfillment of what you desire. When you begin to act, feel, and think as the person who already possesses your goal, your subconscious mind accepts it as fact, and the world reorganizes itself to match that inner reality. Imagination is the workshop of creation. When you vividly imagine the life you wish to live with all the sensory detail and emotional richness, you are planting the seed of reality in your mind. Close your eyes and picture yourself as already living your dream life. Hear the sounds, See the sights, feel the textures, taste the success, and embrace the joy and freedom it brings. Do not merely think about it as a concept or hope for it in the future. Feel it fully in the present. Your imagination does not create merely pictures, it creates the entire emotional and mental environment of your fulfilled state. By repeatedly living in this imagined end, you impress your subconscious with the undeniable reality of your desire. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined with feeling. When you imagine the end vividly, as if it is happening now, your subconscious mind receives it as truth. This truth begins to guide your actions, your decisions, and your perceptions. You begin to notice opportunities you would have overlooked, take inspired actions you might not have considered, and attract the people and resources aligned with your fulfillment. The outer world bends naturally to match the inner reality because it is at its core. A reflection of what you assume to be true. Living, in the end, is not wishful thinking. It is deliberate creation through the conscious assumption of your desired state. Every thought, every feeling, and every sensation that supports your imagined end strengthens the vibration of fulfillment within you. Conversely, dwelling on lack, limitation, or fear creates a misalignment that postpones or prevents manifestation. The key is consistency. The more you dwell in the state of already having, the more your mind and body accept it as your natural condition. You begin to inhabit the consciousness of the fulfilled self, and everything in your outer world must adjust to reflect that inner certainty. To live in the end is to remove all hesitation and uncertainty, to discard the notion that you must wait for life to bring your desires to you. They are already yours, now, in the fertile soil of your imagination. Feelings are the language of the subconscious. When you feel the joy, the satisfaction, the freedom, and the pride of already having what you want, your subconscious mind is impressed and your world aligns accordingly. The end is not something you reach in the future. It is something you live in the present. By living in the end, you do not need to struggle or chase. Creation flows naturally to you. Every opportunity, every relationship, every circumstance that appears in your life is drawn toward the state you have assumed. To embody the end is to exist in the certainty of your fulfilled desire, to live as if the life you want is happening now. Your imagination is the workshop, your feelings are the fuel, and your inner conviction is the blueprint. When you consistently live in the end, your outer reality must conform. It is the natural law of manifestation. The assumed end shapes the world. By embracing this principle, you unlock the power to transform your life, to attract wealth, abundance, and freedom effortlessly, and to experience the life you have always imagined as your present reality. Gratitude is the secret key that transforms desire into reality. It is not merely a polite acknowledgement of what you have, but a profound recognition that everything you seek already exists within your consciousness, waiting to be experienced. When you feel gratitude for the unseen wealth, the life you desire, the opportunities, the abundance, the freedom. It sends a signal to your subconscious mind that these things are real and already yours. Desire alone is not enough to create. Longing without gratitude keeps the mind focused on lack. Gratitude, however, is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. By dwelling in a state of appreciation for what is not yet visible, you align your inner world with the fulfillment you wish to experience. And the outer world cannot help but conform to that inner reality. Every thought, feeling, and act of gratitude impresses your subconscious mind with certainty. When you are genuinely thankful for the wealth you are manifesting, even before it appears, you are affirming its reality within your mind. The subconscious, which governs all creative processes, accepts gratitude as a confirmation that your desires are already fulfilled. It then begins to orchestrate circumstances, events, and opportunities in perfect harmony with that assumed reality. The unseen becomes seen, the imagined becomes tangible, because your inner state has already claimed it. Those who practice gratitude consistently find that life seems to respond in miraculous ways. Doors that once appeared closed open effortlessly. Resources flow in ways previously unimaginable. Coincidences and opportunities align to reflect the richness of the mind that believes in its own abundance. Gratitude is not dependent on external evidence. Why? Oh, do not wait until money, success, or recognition appears before feeling grateful. To do so is to remain in the consciousness of lack, where desire and effort are disconnected from fulfillment. Instead, gratitude begins in the unseen, with the conviction that your desires are already accomplished in the inner world. Close your eyes and feel the joy of receiving the wealth you imagine. Sense the freedom, the satisfaction, the security, and the empowerment that comes from having all that you desire. When you immerse yourself in this feeling of gratitude, you impress it upon your subconscious as an undeniable truth. The world then mirrors this truth, and what was once imagined manifests naturally, effortlessly, and inevitably. Gratitude amplifies the power of imagination. It intensifies your inner conviction that the life you desire is not a distant dream, but an inevitable reality. Each moment of genuine appreciation strengthens your alignment with abundance, reinforcing the mental and emotional patterns that bring your desires into physical form. The act of being thankful is like planting seeds in fertile soil. Each thought of gratitude nurtures the unseen wealth within, ensuring it grows into visible reality. The more you cultivate this practice, the more automatic and natural it becomes. Your mind shifts from focusing on what is missing to celebrating what is already yours in potential, and the universe responds accordingly. When you combine imagination with gratitude, you enter a state of unstoppable creative power. The life you desire begins to unfold effortlessly, as if by divine orchestration. Challenges no longer appear as obstacles, but as opportunities to strengthen your inner state and refine your assumptions. Every circumstance, every encounter, every event becomes a reflection of the rich consciousness you inhabit. Gratitude transforms your desires into possession because it impresses upon the subconscious the certainty that your dreams are real and the outer world has no choice but to follow. By feeling gratitude for your unseen abundance, you align yourself with the natural flow of wealth. You awaken the inner awareness that prosperity is not something to wait for. It is already within you, already yours. Gratitude is the magic that bridges the gap between imagination and reality, turning every desire into experience, every wish into tangible fulfillment, and every thought of abundance into a living, breathing reality. To live in this state is to multiply wealth effortlessly. For the mind that is grateful for the unseen has already claimed the unseen, and the universe is compelled to mirror that claim in perfect reflection. The subconscious mind does not respond to words, logic, or reasoning. It responds to feeling. It cannot distinguish between what is physically real and what is vividly imagined with conviction. This is why the most powerful tool for creating wealth, success, and abundance is not thinking about money or talking about it endlessly, but feeling as though it is already yours. When you immerse yourself in the emotion of having what you desire, you impress the subconscious with a reality it accepts as absolute truth. Words alone are empty unless they are charged with feeling. A declaration of wealth without the inner experience of abundance is merely noise. A feeling of wealth lived inwardly is the seed from which reality grows. To manifest anything, you must consistently dwell in the state of already possessing it. This does not mean pretending or wishful thinking. It means deliberately feeling the richness, freedom, and joy that come from the fulfillment of your desire. Close your eyes and allow yourself to sense the weight, the texture, the emotion, and the satisfaction of having already achieved why. Our goal. Hear the sounds, see the visuals, and feel the energy of abundance flowing through your life. The more vividly and consistently you dwell in this state, the more your subconscious accepts it as true. It does not question the timeline, the method, or the circumstances. It simply brings your outer reality into alignment with your dominant inner state. Most people fail to create the life they desire because they rely on words, thoughts, or plans without feeling. They say, I want wealth, but their inner state whispers doubt, fear, or limitation. The subconscious, which governs your reality, listens only to the feeling behind the words. If you say you want abundance while feeling worry about bills or scarcity in your mind, the subconscious registers the lack and produces experiences that confirm it. It cannot be tricked by intellectual understanding alone. Feeling is the language of creation, and it is the frequency that must be mastered. By consistently dwelling in the sensation of having what you desire, you impress the subconscious with the reality you intend to live, and the outer world must obey. Repetition and consistency are critical. The subconscious absorbs truth most effectively through continual experience and repeated feeling. Every time you immerse yourself in the sensation of wealth, prosperity, and freedom, you are reinforcing a new reality in your inner world. Slowly, effortlessly, and inevitably, this state becomes the dominant assumption within you, shaping your perception, guiding your choices, and attracting circumstances that match the life you imagine. Feeling, not thought, not words, not external validation, is the engine of creation. It is also essential to recognize that the subconscious cannot differentiate between past experiences, present imagination, or future possibility. When you feel wealthy and abundant now, even if it is not yet visible in your external life, the subconscious accepts it as reality. It organizes your mind, body, and actions to manifest that state externally. Opportunities appear, resources align, and people gravitate toward you, not because of random chance, but because your inner world has set the template, and your external reality is simply reflecting it. Feeling is the magnetic force that draws your desires into experience. The practice of dwelling in feeling is the discipline of mastery. Begin each day by sensing yourself as wealthy, capable, and fulfilled. Let this feeling permeate your mind, your body, and your awareness. When challenges or doubts arise, return to the feeling of already having what you desire, knowing that the outer world cannot override the inner state. The subconscious obeys feeling. Absolutely, it will arrange circumstances to mirror what you believe inwardly. By consistently dwelling in the sensation of wealth and abundance, you awaken the creative power within you, and your desires begin to appear effortlessly, as if by natural law. In essence, your mind is a mirror, but it is a mirror that reflects only the emotions and assumptions you dwell upon. Words are powerless unless accompanied by feeling. To create unlimited wealth, success, and freedom, you must live in the sensation of having it now. The subconscious, faithful, and unerring, will respond to this feeling, and the outer world will follow. Your reality is shaped not by thought alone, but by the intensity and consistency of the feeling you hold. Master this, and you master creation itself. True action flows naturally from the state of being, not from force, effort, or desperation. When you assume the identity of wealth, abundance, and success, action is no longer a struggle. It becomes effortless, bold, and perfectly aligned with your inner state. Most people attempt to create wealth by ushering against circumstances, working harder, or forcing results, believing that action alone can produce reality. Yet these efforts are often scattered, anxious, and disconnected from the inner consciousness that determines outcomes. Inspired action, on the other hand, arises spontaneously when the mind is aligned with the consciousness of the fulfilled self. It is the natural expression of the inner assumption of abundance. When you live as though you are already wealthy, your decisions, ideas, and initiatives begin to flow in harmony with the life you have imagined. You act with confidence and clarity because you are not operating from fear, lack, or uncertainty. Every step you take is guided by the inner certainty of already having what you desire. This is the distinction between action that drains energy and action that expands it. Expands it. Inspired action is never rushed, forced, or frantic. It feels effortless because it originates from the alignment of your inner reality with the outer manifestation you are creating. When your inner state is that of a millionaire, your outer behavior naturally mirrors that confidence, focus, and authority, drawing opportunities and outcomes toward you without struggle. Alignment precedes action. Your outer reality responds to the consciousness you inhabit first. If you attempt to force outcomes without first embodying the identity of wealth, your actions are scattered, anxious, and often ineffective. But when you inhabit the consciousness of the rich, successful self, every action you take is infused with power, clarity, and precision. You are guided by intuition, by inner knowing, by a sense of certainty that transcends doubt. The universe responds to this alignment, placing resources, connections, and opportunities directly in your path. Effortless action is the natural consequence of a mind fully attuned to abundance. The process. The process of inspired action also requires trust. Trust that your inner state is sufficient to generate the desired outer reality. Trust that opportunities will appear, that ideas will arise, and that people and resources will align to reflect your inner certainty. Fear and doubt are the only obstacles to effortless action, for they create hesitation, indecision, and misalignment. When you cultivate the identity of wealth and dwell in the assumption of abundance, fear disappears, hesitation is replaced by boldness, and your every move becomes a natural extension of the prosperous state within. Action no longer feels like effort. It feels like expression, like the inevitable unfolding of your inner reality. Every successful person has experienced this principle, whether consciously or unconsciously. The difference between those who struggle and those who achieve with ease is not merely intelligence, luck, or hard work, it is alignment. Inspired action comes to those whose consciousness is consistent, focused, and attuned to the life they desire. When you live as though your goals are already achieved, your subconscious mind guides your behavior, your ideas, and your responses. You move in the world like a magnet, effortlessly attracting people, circumstances, and resources that match the state you inhabit internally. Effortless action does not mean inactivity. It means action that flows from certainty rather than anxiety. It is bold because it is rooted in the knowledge that the life you desire is already yours. It is productive because it is aligned with your subconscious programming, which has already accepted your desires as reality. By assuming the identity of wealth, you create a powerful current in which inspired action naturally arises, bringing your inner visions into tangible reality. Your outer life becomes a mirror of your inner alignment, and each inspired step is a reflection of the millionaire consciousness you now embody. In essence, the key to manifestation is not brute effort, it is alignment. When your mind, feelings, and assumptions are in harmony with the life you desire, action flows without resistance. The universe responds to this alignment, arranging circumstances and opportunities to match your inner state. Inspired action is the evidence of inner certainty, the natural result of living in the consciousness of abundance, and the bridge through which your imagined reality becomes tangible, effortless, and enduring. To assume the identity of the millionaire is to understand that wealth is not merely a matter of external circumstances, money in the bank, or status. True affluence begins in consciousness, in the deep inner, knowing that you are already the person who possesses the life of freedom, abundance, and power you desire. Poverty and limitation are not conditions imposed by the world. They are beliefs that the mind has accepted and repeated over time. By holding these beliefs, most people live a life of scarcity, chasing after success and resources as if they exist outside themselves. They pass away. The key to transforming reality lies in embracing the consciousness of the millionaire first and allowing the external world to naturally reshape itself to reflect that inner state. Assuming the identity of wealth is more than thinking positively about money or setting goals. It is an immersive experience in which you feel, act, and live as the person who is already abundant. Close your eyes and imagine yourself living the life you desire. Not someday in the future, but now. Feel the confidence, the freedom, the security, and the empowerment that come from having all that you want. Hear the sounds, see the sights, and sense the energy of the successful, prosperous self. The more you dwell in this consciousness, the more deeply it impresses itself upon the subconscious mind. The subconscious then accepts this state as your reality and begins to reorganize your perceptions, thoughts, and actions to align with the identity you have assumed. Most people attempt to become wealthy by external effort alone, by working harder, making strategic investments, or pursuing opportunities with desperation. While these actions may produce temporary results, they do not create lasting wealth unless they flow from the inner consciousness of abundance. Without the identity of the millionaire, action is often fearful, uncertain, and misaligned. When you fully assume the consciousness of wealth, action becomes inspired, decisive, and effortless. You act not to acquire wealth, but because wealth is already your nature. Every decision, every step, and every initiative aligns naturally with the life you have imagined, and the external world begins to mirror that certainty. Beliefs are the invisible architects of reality. If you believe that scarcity is your condition, your life will reflect lack. If you believe that limitation defines you, opportunities will appear blocked or distant. By contrast, the assumption of the millionaire's identity shifts the foundation of your reality. You no longer see challenges as obstacles, but as signals guiding you toward greater expression of your affluence. You no longer measure worth by what you lack, but by the wealth you know already exists in your consciousness. Reality is not a fixed landscape. Reality is not a fixed landscape. Reality, it is a reflection of the state of mind you inhabit. And when that state is one of abundance, success, and freedom, the outer world rearranges itself to match your inner truth. Consistency is essential. The millionaire identity must be maintained in thought, feeling, and action. Doubt, hesitation, or external comparisons weaken the inner assumption and delay manifestation. Instead, commit to living as the person you wish to become, embracing every moment as an opportunity to reinforce your inner state. Speak, think, and behave as a wealthy, powerful individual. Let your imagination and your feelings merge seamlessly with your outer actions. In this way, the subconscious mind receives no contradictory messages. It perceives only the certainty of abundance, and the outer world responds accordingly. When you fully assume the identity of the millionaire, you realize that wealth is not earned, it is remembered. It is the recognition of a state that has always been possible, a consciousness you can inhabit at any moment. Poverty, limitation, and struggle are simply illusions created by untrained minds. By embracing the consciousness of affluence, you awaken the natural law that aligns reality with assumption. Your outer life becomes the mirror of your inner state, and all that you imagine as a millionaire begins to appear effortlessly, inevitably, and permanently. You are no longer chasing wealth. You are expressing it because it is who you are. Now you understand that wealth is not a distant prize, but a living reality that begins within your mind. Every desire, every opportunity, and every manifestation originates in consciousness. By activating your millionaire mind, by living in the end, feeling the reality of abundance, expressing gratitude for what is unseen, and consistently dwelling in the sensation of already being wealthy, you align yourself with the unstoppable flow of prosperity. Inspired action emerges naturally. Circumstances and people respond to your inner state, and the world becomes a mirror reflecting the affluence you assume. Poverty, limitation, and struggle exist only as beliefs, and by embracing the consciousness of the millionaire, you dissolve them entirely. Begin now, see, feel, and live as the person who already possesses everything you desire. Your inner state determines your outer reality, and when fully assumed, unlimited wealth, freedom, and abundance must inevitably appear. You are wealth, you are power, you are already prosperous.